I'm Leonie Masson. I'm a Senior Consultant at GML and I've been working here since early 2020. My role here is to prepare site histories, undertake research so that the built heritage archaeologists and other consultants here can provide high quality heritage advice to a range of clients. They could be state, local or federal. I've worked for 25 years in local studies libraries, in public libraries. I was really fortunate to work at Stanton Library at North Sydney, which has an amazing historical collection which I was lucky to work with and develop. My background in libraries has given me immense skills in archival research and using collections. So I have developed a network over the years in this field of local studies libraries, archive collections, museums and galleries. And through my research, I have been able to sort of explore all of those in varying ways to provide the best possible and the clearest site histories. The knowledge of these places and the collections they hold are very important in my role as a senior consultant. When I worked at North Sydney back in the 80s, GML was the company who produced the North Sydney Heritage Review. So I'm really familiar with the company and familiar with the work output. And I consider myself extremely fortunate to now be amongst the alumni of GML. And looking forward to working on some really interesting and exciting projects, both at private and government level. So I guess having that 25 years working with an amazing array of documents and collections, I think it sort of really impressed on me the importance of what's important and what we value as important as a community. And being from the local studies and library background, helping to preserve that documentary history for people in the future so that they can understand at various times in our timeline what's important and why we should keep it. Apart from that sort of really local heritage that I came to love and appreciate at North Sydney, and having developed relationships with people managing other collections, similar collections in state, and being involved as a local studies librarian in national committees, I actually developed a really fine interest in pubs, you know, the old Art Deco pubs that litter the Australian landscape. And I know there's been a lot of work in this area, but you know, there's nothing better than a really well-preserved Art Deco pub that you see in the streets of Sydney or Queensland's capital Brisbane, or whether it's in a country town. There are some amazing collections in the National Library where you can actually see wonderful photos of the before and afters when the main companies like TUS would actually revamp their buildings in the late 1920s, early 30s. Really amazing architects of the time, and these outstanding buildings still exist and are enjoyed by people who may not appreciate necessarily the built aspect of it. But yes, if I had a choice, that's my next love is the hotel, the iconic hotel buildings of that interwar period. I think we need to be continuously monitoring and updating the systems, which Australia has a good relationship and a good history in providing systems to ensure that our natural, our historical, our Aboriginal heritage places are protected. So think what's important, we don't just want to have time capsules. We don't want to put these iconic sites or buildings in a time capsule and lock them away. We want people to actually experience history and experience it in many ways. So, for instance, turning places, heritage places, into houses, make them museums, turn them into cafes and restaurants, create new uses for old spaces and integrate them into public spaces. I think this is where heritage is going. We want to develop policies that are tailored for those specific sites, maybe encourage more continuing community use, and allow people and companies and businesses and owners to carry out additions and alterations in a sympathetic manner and give them a stake in protecting those places for their future. And I think on the other side of that, I think we're moving towards more engaging people through communication, interpretation. We need to explain why we're keeping these places and why they're listed. So, for instance, we have the great examples of interpretation that GML and other companies have produced, such as the goods line in Sydney. So it gives a whole new generation of people from all backgrounds an idea of what they're walking on, why it's important, and giving them a way of enjoying it, not just in an informational manner, but making it a space for recreation. And at the heart of it, I think that for me, heritage is information. We need to get that information out to the public. For me, the future of heritage is creating active spaces, encouraging use, continuing use of places, integrating them into the community, and ultimately communicating the importance of those sites. And finally, get the young people involved. I think it's the younger generations that will take heritage forward and be responsible for curating it and when we're long gone.